looking into some of the things and finding an interesting, actually I was just going into some of these applications and looking at CMI, ICR, Genesis Apologetics, and Creation Creation Mo, don't know. Anyway, I haven't, there's so much things to research and all that, and I already know that the world is around 6,000 years, so it's not a big problem for me. So that subject I pretty much have, yes, a lot of other things to study at the moment. So anyway, but I found an interesting thing here. So apparently the Creation Ministry International apparently got this message from a so-called father. Already there, the bells should be ringing. A so-called father. Apparently published 27 February 2016 by Lita Kostner. Our scriptures are always our ultimate guide. Yeah. Well, I would be aware of Paul, and I would be aware of the doctrine of heaven and hell and all that, which a lot of Christians do believe in. I don't think it's biblical. But anyway, it's just getting us closer to the Roman Catholics that believe in this heaven or purgatory thing. Whereas everybody that dies are going downwards. Where was Jesus 3 days and 3 nights? Was he going upward or was he going downward? He was going down to the realm of the dead, or the place of the dead, which in Hebrew is called Sheol and in Greek is called Hades. And we have some mistranslations, or well, maybe not mistranslations, but at least some confusion in regard to some of the translations. Because one Hebrew word is translated into 3 different words in English, and then in the New Testament, Gehenna, which is not Sheol, is translated into hell as well, as Sheol is translated into hell, and you get into so much confusion on those things, and we can thank the King James Version for that. Now, that's not to say that the King James Version is not a great version. It's a good version, but it's as any other version out there, a translation. And thereby, when you uphold the King James Version moreover than, even the Hebrew text and the Greek text, you get into issues. Anyway. And a lot of Christians apparently, in English anyway, Americans and English people get into this issue because they read the King James Version, whereas other nations, like in Danish, as far as I remember, we don't have that issue in our translation. It has been corrected. Now, there are some Danish versions that do have the issue, if I remember correctly. But in the new versions, we don't have that issue. So this seems to be primarily an issue of, not studying the Bible close enough. But anyway, let's see here. We thought the following exchange would illustrate to readers the type of correspondence the CMI receives on a regular basis. By the way, maybe we could look that up. There we go. Actually, in regards of my bad connection, I turned off my advertising thing and all that. I was thinking maybe that could be the issue, So I tried to turn it off and see if I get any issues with the program. We thought the following exchange would illustrate to readers the type of correspondence that CMI receives on a regular basis, not just from secularists, but from professing Christians. Well, in regards of Roman Catholicism, I wouldn't really call them Christians, but anyway, you know. But yeah, they are professing Christians, I guess. This so-called priest ignorance about what creationists believe illustrates exactly why ministries like CMI need to exist and thus need your support. And I think, yeah, it would be one of those. I think they are those that makes the magazines of creationism, and I would support them if I should find the money to see if I could actually support them by buying their magazine or something like that, or maybe 2 magazines. You can always give one away or lay it someplace. It would be wonderful. Anyway. So here we go, and already we have a problem. We have a huge red light. Maybe I should actually turn it around. You see, you have to be aware of the Jesuits, of course. The Jesuits, the satanic Jesuits. And this so-called Father Jason, AFB, PhD. Yeah, they go, wow, you know. Oh, this guy has all these titles. He must be telling the truth, right? I do wonder where the camera is. That's probably down there. But I'm looking up here. So, yeah, okay. So, but in regards to the heaven-hell doctrine, people, if you are studying the King James Version, do yourself a favor. Download the word.net, I think it is. You can get it for free. If you have a computer, let's just find it, and I'll find it for you here. The word. So what you do is you can also download eSword, but I would recommend the word because the word is portable, and thereby you can take it with you on a USB stick and all that. And the word can also search multiple Bibles. So I did start out using eSword. eSword is less of computer, it takes less of resources from the computer. The word is somewhat slower, but the word actually has this wonderful feature where actually when you push Control C and you're on the internet, it pops up and you can put out but it pops out the scripture and you can set this up and it's just a wonderful feature. The word can also be run on Linux. I have had it running on Linux as well, but that feature doesn't work in Linux. But it can be run in Linux and not working totally perfect, but it works. And so it's just nice to have one application that you can actually use cross-platform in some sense. This program is totally free. You just download it, install it, and I can't remember if you need to install it in a portable version or if it's just portable out the box. But it is portable, so you can take it with you. As you can see, they have like an USB pen here, and you can just take it with you. And if you reinstall Windows, you don't need to reinstall eSword. Like eSword, it needs to be reinstalled every time because it's not portable. And many of the other biblical programs are not portable. These big, and that's one of the things that I hate with instead of making it easier for users, they make it harder. It's just. This is actually pretty good. It's chicken. Chicken soup, I guess. In some sense. If you have a chicken and water and all that, you get some very nice flavored soup. Anyway, so I would recommend downloading this program on your computer and just searching on, download the King James Version with the Strongs in regards to the concordance, and with the numbers, and search on hell, the word hell, and then look at what word that is in regards to the number, and then you can search the number out. And you can actually see that the word Sheol is translated into 3 different words in the King James Version. Now, after you have found out about that, you go to the New Testament and you find out in regards of the hell, in regards of the New Testament. And you find out what word is actually behind the word hell in the New Testament, and you will find out the word is Gehenna. Now, Gehenna is not the same thing as Sheol. So, you can actually see in the book of Revelation where the realm of death, which is Sheol or Hades, is cast into the lake of fire. That is Gehenna. Anyway, so it's 2 different things. You see, when we die, whether we believe or not, we're not going to heaven, we're going downward. We are sleeping in the earth, awaiting resurrection. So this heaven doctrine, that you can find like every places in these pagan, religions and all that it's not true. This heaven and hell, whatever, not true. Not biblical. Do your own research. Don't listen to the crazy man on the so-called crazy man on the video. Do your own research, because no one will do it for you. Okay? Well, people might go out and do it, but you do not know if they are telling the truth or not. So you need to do it for yourself. And again, it's not that. Well, everything is difficult, in the beginning, right? But you can do it. You can do it. That was in regards of not where I wanted to go. Okay. So again, this website you can download. The big red button. Download the word. So. Get started, get going, do some digging, And you can also find historical things where they're talking about, in regards of... So anyway, but a lot of people, also ministries that goes against the Antichrist and all that, sadly promote this doctrine of heaven and hell. It's just not true. Anyway. So... this so-called priest ignorance about that creationist belief illustrates exactly why ministries like CMI need to exist and thus need your support. And the thing is, in regards of science magazines, I have a huge amount of science magazines that I've clipped out, articles out and all that, because I got like 10 years or something like that for free. Or maybe it was over. A huge amount of years anyway I got from free. And I just went down through them, and there was some good stuff and some bad stuff. And, they're promoting this satanic idea of evolution and all that. Yeah. But there's still some good stuff in it, and it was free. But of course, in regards of Creation magazine, you would pretty much just have... good stuff without all this leaven of paganism. Anyway, so-called Father Jason AFB PhD wrote. You have to have all those titles, right? I'm so clever, look at my titles. Seeing that you people believe in hell, how do you figure that your level of ignorance, bigotry, hate, corruption, and abuse... By the way, I think this guy is a Jesuit, by the way. And... he also talks about being educated at this place where, as I remember, there's a lot of, people coming out having education in regards of Roman Catholicism. Yeah. These guys are wolves in sheep clothing. Do you hear me? It's wolves in sheep clothing. And we have to be aware. Already, when someone calls himself so-called father, or if someone calls him so-called rabbi, just run away. Just you probably already will run away when you're listening to the guy, because Jesus said, "My sheep knows my voice." And I'll tell you, the voice of these so-called fathers and rabbis are not the voice that we know to be Jesus Christ. Anyway, I was in Jerusalem and I was invited to one of these places and with a so-called rabbi, and I did not know his voice, that's for sure. Anyway, and I fled, I couldn't continue listening to this guy. I don't know how long I held out, but and it was incredible. And these women, because there was mostly women at this place, and these women just seemed to just gobble it all up. It's just incredible, It is incredible how few men there was and how many women there was, I guess women are, I don't know. That's incredible. There was nearly no men. And I was like totally filled up in the woman section. The men, we had to get chairs for the women. So the chairs from the man section went over to the women's section. Because it was totally overfilled with the women, but nearly none in regards of men. So seeing that you believe in hell, how do you figure that your level of ignorance, bigotry, hate, corruption and abuse to others, especially your own children, will provide any entryway into this mystical vision of heaven that you are so keen on faithing into existence? I don't know why this guy has so many issues in regards to this heaven doctrine, because the Roman Catholics are believing this same heaven doctrine, by the way. But in regards of heaven and hell, it's not biblical. Just look it up. Anyway, it's just as far as I can see, it's not biblical. It's only, and again, you can see a lot of these that actually goes against Roman Catholicism, and they're actually promoting this doctrine of heaven and hell. And as I can see it, it's only getting us closer to Roman Catholicism, because Roman Catholicism believes that people are going to heaven or purgatory. Now you would think, as I thought, that purgatory actually was something where you're going downward, but that's not true. Purgatory is actually like, like a so-called Holy Spirit hospital, apparently, where you are in, you go upward into this place. And of course, you can always pay for, your grandmother or whatever if she's in purgatory. So it's a good money machine. Overall, Roman Catholicism is just a great money machine. Just totally misusing Christianity. And saying, "Oh, we are Christians." Really? Hey, I thought you were the great hall of Revelation and that the beast was actually your head. Oh, I must have misread my Bible or something like that. And maybe all the millions of Protestants misread their Bible as well, because they believe the same thing, that Roman Catholicism was the worst of the worst. And that the last beast, according to the book of Daniel, is Roman. And that little horn that grows up is, Vatican, which actually, by the way, the word Vatican has a meaning, which is in regards of, anyway, I can't remember, so many things to remember, so let's see. You use every logical fallacies ever and have even been to, and have even seen to invent new ones purely to falsely assert your claims. Any and seemingly all so-called evidence, or what is it called? Those dots, evidence you provide is provided from similar pro-creationist sites. You also have to remember that these Roman Catholics, by the way, which are not Christianity, are promoting evolution. And evolution is not biblical. Evolution is pagan Satanism. Anyway, you use every logical fallacy ever and have even seen to invent new ones, purely to falsely assert your claims. Any and seemingly all evidence you provide is provided from similar pro-creationist sites, all of which take actual facts out of context in order to misguide people into your beliefs. And again, I don't know what this guy has of issues in regards of the doctrine of heaven and all that, because Roman Catholicism do believe in, the heaven doctrine of going to heaven or purgatory after death. Anyway, so let's see here. So all of which take actual facts out of context in order to misguide people into your belief. As an actual holder of a doctorate, hey, listen to me. I have been, I have this great doctorate. I'm a great doctor. You should listen to me. Because I have this title, and I have been brainwashed for years and years and years and years. So you should listen to me. Just. In the dumpster with this guy, Anyway, as an actor, because, you people reading your Bibles don't have any clue about anything, But I have this great title of, So as an actual holder of a doctorate, no offense to plant grower Dr. Batten. So he's like Dr. ? Batten. I find this entire site to be a mockery to Christianity. By the way, in regards to the Jesuits and all these and Roman Catholicism, they don't like truth, okay? So in regards of, I saw this one, where this guy is talking against Roman Catholicism, and they have a magazine against Roman Catholicism, and this article saying we should not, what is the word, tolerate, we should not tolerate this. Hey, haven't you heard about free speech? No, apparently not, of course, because Rome doesn't really like free speech, because, can't have free speech telling the truth about the Roman Antichrist, can we? And in regards of this article as well on Catholic .org or .com or something like that, in regards of, hey, I went into this, Protestant, bookstore, the horror I found Roman, anti-Catholic material in a Protestant bookstore. What should I do? Oh, the horror. Well, maybe you should either not go into a Protestant bookstore, or you should buy the Protestant material and read it for yourself. Yeah, that would be my opinion, of course. That was, of course, not the opinion of this Catholic webpage that said that he should try to see if he could actually get these things, the bookstore's manager to actually stop, selling these. It's just incredible. You guys are outrageous. Roman Catholicism is the worst enemy, and I do not believe in any, when some Roman Catholics comes around and all that, don't believe them. They're liars, they're deceivers. I don't have words for how much, it is utterly disgusting what these people are doing. They will lie, they will deceive, they will, they will just what they will not do, and using. It's incredible. It's utterly incredible and disgusting. I just don't have words for it. It is just the experience I have with Roman Catholics are just outrageous. How much they will try to deviate from the truth and mix it up with lies and promote lies and deceptions. It's incredible. It's evil. It's utterly evil. It's utterly demonic. It is utterly filthy. We should never ever let the Roman Catholics say anything in regards of what we Christians should do, because Roman Catholics are just it's abomination, utterly abomination. Anyway, and it just again and again these Roman Catholics. Yes, I'm anti-Catholic, and that's a very good reason for being anti-Catholic. And I think any Christian that reads the Bible and, will end up being anti-Catholic because they love the truth and hate the lies and deceptions. So anyway, so he goes on, I find this entire site to be a mockery to Christianity, Jesus Christ's very own teachings, and a serious offense to God. Oh, really? Well, I find Jesuitism to be a most grievous offense to God, if anything. Just read the Jesuit Oath. People, go read the Jesuit Oath and look at it. And then afterwards, you can go look at the oath of the knights, of the different knights of Columbus and Malta, and pretty much some of the same thing as the oath of the Jesuits. Anyway, you can see the same patterns, and thereby, maybe because it's the same wicked system that all of them are working for. So he goes, you intentionally contradict the very faith you believe in order to attack non-believers, which you aren't very good at. By the way, my doctorates are, look at this, here he speaks. And already before he actually said this, I was already thinking it. So when he just said it outright, I didn't need to actually discern anymore because it's on his own words. By the way, my doctorates are in theological anthropology and in psychology. Fordham Jesuit University. You think this guy might actually be a Jesuit? Is there might be a chance that he is a Jesuit? Anyway. So, learning against learning, teaching against teaching, education against education. Masterpiece of Satan. Anyway, so anyway, it has always been somewhat of a joke in actual theological discussions that fundamentalist and creationist were egotistical nuts who have been brainwashed and are no better than terrorists. This guy is outrageous. I hate Roman Catholicism. I hate it flat out because it's the most demonic, deceptive piece created in this world. And when you look at it in regards of where they put fundamentalist in regards to this category of terrorist, it's insane. It's outright demonic. And here you go. Here you can see where it might actually be stemming from. Maybe in regards of Roman Catholicism, who fights against what? Protestantism. And what is Protestantism? Well, Protestantism is Christianity that reads the Bible and stand for the Bible, and thereby they became Protestants because they protested the Antichrist, the Roman, high priest of paganism. And who is that? The so-called Pope, which I better use the word poop, the great stinking white poop. And I will not back down just because you guys are, better fear God than to fear the devil. Because the devil can only kill the body, but God can kill both body and soul in the lake of fire, in regards of Gehenna. Anyway, it has always been somewhat of a joke in actual theological discussions that fundamentalists and creationists were egotistical nuts. This is outrageous. Who have been brainwashed and no better than terrorists. You see, the devil have a way of being very good at flipping things around. So calling those that are, actually being the terrorist, they are calling other people terrorists, and actually, being those that is, actually brainwashed, calling other people brainwashed, So let's see. It's incredible how, again, I'm really missing the words here, but it's outrageous. It's just outrageous what he is saying. It is just so far out, but showing what Roman Catholicism actually is. It's showing this wicked, filthy system of idolaters that loves this cookie god, this wafer god, this unleavened piece of dry, cookie or dry, unleavened bread, which they believe is God. It's outrageous, utterly outrageous. It has always been somewhat of a joke in actual theological discussions that fundamentalists and creationists were egotistical nuts who have been brainwashed and are no better than terrorists. To put fundamentalist and creationist in the same category as terrorist is just, it's outrageous. It's just utterly, it's insane. These guys should not be in any office of state. That the Protestants knew about these things, to not put these Roman Catholics in positions of state things, And what happened? Freedom of religion for the Roman papist, for these Roman poopists, poopery, I can see after thoroughly reviewing your side, after thoroughly reviewing your side, that this is not the case. I would like to make a formal apology, to the people I called rude for mocking creationism. Yeah, but he's going to turn that around. After seeing this side, it has become abundantly clear to me and others who I have forwarded that these pages of blasphemy, by the way, in regards to have forwarded these things, have forwarded them to maybe other Jesuit colleagues or anyway, that these pages of blasphemy and immoral substance, oh my, is a complete contradiction to God's wishes. You talk about the Antichrist, maybe. You talk about the devil, you talk about that old snake and Antichrist of the number 666, maybe, that, the puppet of Satan, Is that what you're talking about, Is is it blasphemy in regards of your so-called Holy Father? The unholy faker. The poop. His great smelliness. So after seeing this side, it has become abundantly clear to me and others who have forwarded that these pages of blasphemy and immoral substance is a complete contradiction to God's wishes. Oh, really? Personal attacks are unchristian, and it seems that this debate between creationism and science. Whoa, 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 whoa. You already miss again. You see how slick they are? So it's like, creationism is not science. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, creationism is not science. Science is like evolution, pagan satanic evolution about millions and billions of years. Yeah, 13.8 billion years. Nothing exploded and no cause and so forward. Oh yeah, that's not really very scientific, is it? Usually there's a cause, isn't there? Cause and effect. You ever heard about that scientific term? Cause and effect. That's another word for it. But anyway. Cause and effect. Anyway. And it seems that this debate between creationism and science has evolved into nothing but hate and intolerance towards human beings for reasons that are detrimental for both sides. Again, you see what he's doing? He's taking creationism out of science, like creationism is not science, He is, creationism here and science, creationism on here and science here. Well, creationism is science. It's actually much more scientific than evolution is. Maybe it's because it's actually true, by the way. Because creationism is true and evolution is not. Evolution is pagan Satanism, and it's a lie and it's a deception. So it has nothing to do with science, does it? Because science is something that we can prove, right? And that we can test and all of that. And pretty much by the evidence that we see, evolution is to the trash. But creationism is actually having great validity and is the way, if you actually look on a scientific way, it's like finding like soft tissue in dinosaurs, like carbon dating dinosaur bones to mere 16,000 years or something like that. And even if they are off, because the creation is not, it's around 6,000 years, plus minus some hundreds of years, but, it's not 16,000 years. But, still with that, and that's because of, what's it called? I can't remember the words, but there are, the beginnings of measurement. They have some false, I can't remember what it's called. Assumptions. That's one word at least. They have some of the, they have some false assumptions, and thereby they end up to, higher dating than it actually is. But it's still far less than millions and millions of years. It shows that these dragon bones, which actually dinosaurs was called in the past. And when they say, if dinosaurs lived with man, we would have, stories about that. We actually do have stories about that. Well, they're called dragons, not dinosaurs, okay? Because dinosaurs was a word that was invented in 1841, if I remember correctly. So before 1841, there was nothing that was called dinosaurs. So they were called dragons. So you have soft tissue from dragon bones. You have carbon dating to not, that shows that these couldn't be millions and millions of years. You have blood cells, you have, it's just anyway. But they don't want you to know about that. And that's not very scientific. Actually, there's a lot of things that they apparently don't want the people to see. Maybe because it just outright destroys their religion of evolution and hatred of God. They have hatred of God. There's an agenda behind it. So anyway, so this guy is already trying these ways. Satanists are very clever, and they can be, probably Satanists are some of the most clever people in this world. Satan seems to have, the most clever soldiers, but that is not to say that they are clever in the way of, telling lies and deceptions and leading you away from the biblical, understanding. This is good. This is good. It's like chicken. Chicken. First and foremost, your interpretation of the Bible and your worship of it is borderline heretical. The idolatry. Should we talk about idolatry? Isn't that you're calling yourself father, right? So you're worshipping a cookie, right? And you want to call you just have to clean house, I think, for yourself. You can start smashing this idol penis on St. Peter's place. This Egyptian erect idol penis. Egyptian erect idol penis, but okay, and you have other places apparently also having these Egyptian phalluses standing around. Anyway, the idolatry that your belief stems from, it is erroneous in heart, the thought and soul. As a Christian, your responsibility. Wait. By the way, as a Roman Catholics, do you think you have anything to say in regards to Christians? Oh, no. You don't have anything to say. Actually, bye-bye. You don't have any authority to say anything. It's like the Pope. We don't care about what the Pope says. We don't care what your bishop says. Even if you, or we don't care what you Roman Catholic priests or Jesuits are saying, You might say, in regards of, you might promoting evolution and all that. I don't care. I don't care what you're saying because you're speaking the words of Satan. You're so deceptive. You're so evil. You're so wicked, I have zero tolerance for it anymore. I just have, I don't care about you. I don't care about your opinions. You see, bye-bye, Anyway, I'm just so tired of these guys, I'm tired of them trying to deceive me and to lie to me and so forward. I'm tired of it. I'm totally done with it, and they are probably, he's probably going to come by again. And I hate it. I just hate these liars. I hate them for trying to deceive me, to trying to get me off track in regards to the truth. I hate it. I just hate it. I hate Roman Catholicism. It's just hate it. It's just, these people are coming and promoting their lies and deceptions. I just utterly hate it. I think these people should get out of this Roman insane asylum and get reading in the Bible instead of this, I just and to love people is to tell them the truth. Not to say, oh, let's just go along to get along. No. Tell them the truth. You're part of a most vicious satanic cult led by the Antichrist. Anyway, as a Christian, your responsibility is to the New Testament. Yeah, and the Bible overall. And just be careful of Paul. A wolf was, Yeshua warned us about a wolf in sheep clothing, right? Anyway, and who is the breaker of the law of God. Who is, when people are only reading the letters of Paul, people end up in lawlessness many times. It's very sad, and attacking those that tries to uphold the law of God. Anyway, this is the word which God has sent Christ to confer upon us. Yeah. Do you remember? No, I made a video about a Roman Catholic, a younger guy, and he was reading the New Testament, and he read it to find all the doctrines of the Roman Catholic faith, and he couldn't find one single piece of these doctrines that they were putting, hiding on a scale. He read it 6 times. 6 times he read the New Testament, and he couldn't find any validation for all these doctrines that they had and that they loved. And you can see he talks with this priest, and the priest tries to, Anyway, it might actually be a very interesting book to read from the beginning to the end. But I do tend to get somewhat disturbed by these people, It's just, I'm beginning to be able to discern somewhat some of their ways, and they are filthy. They are just totally demonic. I think it's a Roman Catholic can sit there and tell you that about Jesus Christ and all that, but in his head he's thinking about the cookie Jesus. He's thinking of a perpetual sacrifice in the whorehouses of the Roman Catholic meeting places. It's outrageous. And they might not even tell you that they are Roman Catholics. They might actually just deceive you that you might just believe that they are Christians. I think it's incredible. Why would you ever try to deceive another person? Do I go around and say I'm a Roman Catholic to make the Roman Catholics believe that I'm a Roman Catholic? No. So why would the Roman Catholics run around and try to make themselves, but that the Protestant might believe and the Christians might believe that they are actually Christians, Why would they do that? Why can't they just say, oh, I'm a Roman Catholic, I believe in the cookie Jesus? It's filthy and deceptive, and their ways are just utterly outrageous. To marry Christians, to have their children grow up as Roman Catholics instead of actually growing up as Christians. Have to be aware. If you're going to marry a woman that is a Roman Catholic, just be aware, because she might be out on a mission, Yeah, I know it sounds outrageous, but you really have to be aware. If you're a Christian, don't marry a Roman Catholic. Don't marry a Mohammedan, don't marry an atheist. Marry a Christian. At least you will lessen the chance of getting into... you want your children to grow up as Christians. Yeah. Not in regards of Roman Catholics or Mohammedans or atheists or, anyway. So let's see here. This is the word which God has sent Christ to confer upon us. And again, interesting to say that, oh yeah, we should go by the New Testament and all that. Well, I just read in regards to the Roman Catholic guy that read the New Testament 6 times from the beginning to the end, not finding support for all his doctrines. And yeah, it's just... So, yeah, we should go by the New Testament and just be aware of Paul. The thing with wolves is they are telling truth and they are mixing it with lies. So just be aware. Not saying that you cannot use, things that Paul is saying, just be aware that there might be some leaven in it. Jesus warned us about wolves in sheep clothing that could, if possible, deceive the elect. He was not warning about against the Mohammedans or the Hindus or the Buddhists or the atheists or something like that. Jesus was warning us about wolves in sheep clothing. Excuse me. So this is the word which God has sent Christ to confer upon us, to put in very simple, the Old Testament was the best of the worst. Let's see here. I'm not sure where this quote is coming from, but I believe that when Jesus says something about creation, that's important, that's authoritative, and it certainly overrides what a certain interpretation of science might say today. Yeah, that might actually be a quotation from a response to this letter. But anyway, of course, when the Bible says something in regards to creationism, should we just destroy the whole Bible just because somebody in regards of science, so-called science, say that it's not true, that evolution is true? No, of course not. We should stand on the Bible. And if you actually look on real science, observable science, evolution is to the trash and creationism is... we have some battery problems I can see, but it should be charging, but 1% is not much. It might actually close down. I can actually, let's see if we can turn the screen down. I can still see what is red. It's a little harder, but a little up. Just so it can get some juice. There we go. So he says, the idolatry that your beliefs stem from, it is erroneous in heart, thought, and soul. And you have to remember the Jesuits are still out there attacking Christians. The whole game of this is that they are very effective and they are really viciously, and they will use any means to their disposal. So actually just seeing a which I believe he might be a Jesuit, seeing him attack this ministry is not really a surprise. Because there's not that many actually standing for the truth out there. And Satan doesn't like truth, and thereby, you're getting attacked. Has great flavor in it, I must say. It's really sucking a lot of the flavor out of. I've had a chicken in water, and I've been eating the chicken as well. Don't if you have a chicken, don't put the chicken too long in regards of cooking, because all the flavor will go out of the chicken. But I also put the bones in there afterwards, after eating the chicken, and letting it cook with the bones, and it's wonderful. It's a really good drink, I think. Tastes pretty good. Should also be good to the bones, but I still need to find chicken feet. And I have issues with my joints and all that. I have a huge amount of health issues, but anyway. But that's, it just goes downhill to the, anyway, let's not get off topic. As a Christian, but actually it was a blessing in some sense, because if I didn't have these health issues that I have, I might never have asked the question, what is the meaning of life in my youth? And it took me like a huge amount of years to figure things out, and I'm still trying to figure a lot of things out, but I've absolutely gotten closer to the truth, finding Jesus Christ, studying the Bible, finding out who the enemies is in this world, and that we have been totally deceived, on so many levels. Anyway, it's very sad. Anyway, as a Christian, your responsibility is to the New Testament. This is the word which God has sent Christ to confer upon us. By the way, remember, Paul never walked with Jesus. He never slept with Jesus. He never ate with Jesus, and so forward. He just saw this vision, whatever, out in the desert, Anyway, and we have aberrations, like in regards to Roman Catholicism. We have a lot of aberrations as well in regards to so-called Mary or whatever, just be aware. Be careful. So, and by the way, all Asia, and that's all Asia, according to Paul himself, according to one of his last letters, if it's not his last letter, but at least one of his last letters, he says, all, that means all, Asia left me. As you know, all Asia left me. So why would all Asia leave Paul? Well, I think there's a good reason for that. But we still have the Apostle John in the area of Asia Minor. We have the Apostle Philip in Asia Minor. And we have Jesus making John, the Apostle, write to the 7 congregations in Asia Minor, which is the very place that discounted Paul as an apostle. Isn't that interesting? And I think when you begin to piece the puzzle pieces together, you might find out who the enemy is that Jesus was talking about. Now, besides information in the New Testament, we also have outside sources that are very interesting as well to piece up some of the puzzle pieces. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Be aware, just be aware that when Jesus said that the poisonous seeds had to grow up with the good, eatable weed, he was telling the truth. So after he had been here, we should expect someone coming after him and sowing something that looked like the real thing, yet is not, and is growing up with the real thing. You have to remember that it's not like just paganism or whatever, because paganism was already here. We're talking about some new seeds being sown, which is poisonous, which is not law-abiding, which are lawless, compared to the good eatable seeds that are law-abiding. So anyway, that's another topic for itself. You can go on for hours and hours on that topic. Anyway, Paul was promoting the doctrine of eating meat sacrificed to false gods. Both the council in Jerusalem and the book of Acts says that's no-go. Jesus rebukes them in Asia Minor for this doctrine as well, at least 2 times, and so forward. Anyway, as a Christian, your responsibility is to the New Testament. This is the word which God had sent Christ to confer upon us. To put in very simple, the Old Testament was the best of the worst. I have no idea why it was best of the worst. The best of the worst. Anyway. What I mean when I say this is that 2,000 plus years ago, people and little to no understanding of how the world worked, and often supplemented folklore and guesses into oral stories in an attempt to make something coherent and more believable. Oh, you have to be kidding me here. Hello there. That was a smiley. Anyway, apparently I have the chat on. Anyway, and little to no understanding of how the world worked, and often supplemented folklore and guesses into oral stories in an attempt to make something coherent and more believable. What do we have? 2% battery. Yeah, the battery is still charging, but it's hanging in there, so it could close down at any moment. But hopefully it's hanging on. I've taken the light down. But anyway, in regards of this way of this guy talking about, taking folklore, and guesses into oral stories and all that. I remember I was talking to a so-called Lutheran priest in Denmark, and he was pretty much saying the exact same thing. And it's like, how can you have a priest or a shepherd that doesn't even believe in the Bible, That's pretty outrageous, I think. But he was like saying that he had heard from his worldly father, his fleshly father, that you couldn't really believe everything that was in the Bible and all that, and apparently he went for that. So this shepherd that should have stood for the truth was mixing traditions of man with the Bible. And that's the same thing that this guy seemed to be doing, oh, they didn't know, so, you have to remember that Moses had contact directly to God. And this guy is saying, oh, they didn't really know in regards of, it was just folklore and this and that. Well, Moses was talking to God. So, you don't think they would know in regards of how creation was created and so forward? Give me a break, That's outrageous. So, and little to no understanding of how the world worked, and often supplemented folklore and guesses into oral stories in an attempt to make something coherent and more believable. Again, just, do you see Moses having, contact with God? Yeah, I think so, And God was coming down, standing in the bush, in the burning bush, and speaking to Moses in regards of his people and, getting the Israelites out of Egypt. And who was leading them? Well, God was leading them, the angel or messenger in the burning pillar that also destroyed the Egyptians in regards of the rider on the horse. So anyway, it's incredible. It's just, no, but, these guys just, mixed up folklore and, guesses and all that in the Bible, I guess. Just an incredible stupid. Anyway, continuing. That being said, whether you have the courage, knowledge, insight, common sense to admit that or not, the Bible as a tool of man, invented by man, for man, is and will always be corrupted and impure. Oh. Well, of course, in regards of a translation, when you translate from one language to another language, you will lose information and all that. But, trying to... if you actually look at the Jesuits and what they believe about the Bible, they abhor the Bible, they hate the Bible, and they want, they want this snake that is, in their hand again as a, so they can control it again. And, I read that yesterday. I can't remember it word for word. But you can see that they really, really hate the Bible. Because the Bible pretty much destroys Roman Catholicism. And it points to the Antichrist. And the Antichrist is in regards of the office and seat of the papacy. All the Protestants knew this in the past. But in our days, the Protestants are not that much Protestants because no Protestants seem to protest against the Antichrist anymore. The Roman Antichrist, the Pope, the unholy figure, his most smelliness, Anyway. And in regards of the whore riding the beast of the number 666, that would be Rome. Rome is the city that rules over the kings of the earth. Where are all the kings going? Well, to Rome. Anyway, and in regards to the book of Daniel, the little horn that persecutes the saints, and the saints are those keeping, guarding, protecting the commandments of Jehovah and the testimony of Jesus Christ, or Yeshua HaMashiach. Well, what nature is this little horn? Well, the little horn is sitting on the Roman beast. And the Roman beast is going to be destroyed when Jesus is coming back. So that is still future. So anyway, it's a Roman beast. Roman Catholicism. There we go. Roman. Anyway, that being said, whether you have the courage, knowledge, insight, common sense to admit that or not, the Bible as a tool of man, invented by man for man, is and will always be corrupted and impure. Just sowing doubt on the word of God so they can come with their, the laws of the Antichrist, Uh-oh. No. We have a fail.